Hey, hey, little chickadees. This is Grace coming live from the Comfy Nest with Grace. Good morning. It's Monday. Is it the 23rd? Yes, it's the 23rd. Good morning. It's Monday the 23rd. I am, like, if you could see the back end of these lives, just before I go live, I'm like a chicken, speaking of a comfy nest, this little birdie here, like a chicken with her head cut off, trying to get ready. I just put my finger into wet spray paint in the garage, which I just got all over my camera mount. It's just been a morning. It has just been a morning. I decided, I posted that I'd be live at 11, and then my son asked if we could go to school and pick up all his things before that. So this has been quite the morning. I did not expect to have that. I was expecting to do that later, but we just did it so that the kids could get going with their schoolwork. This is their first day doing schoolwork online, I guess is what we're going to call it. Online schoolwork. So this should be an interesting quarter for them, as I'm sure it is for all of you. Today we're going to do a project. It's all about the hearts. So what are the kinds of things that you need for today? So I posted some pictures of some cardboard boxes that you may have on hand already. So I went into my recycling bin to get this one. Any cardboard. It doesn't even really matter where you get it from. I thought I pulled some. I get cardboard inserts in some of the mailers that I get with my craft supplies. I use them all the time. Those would be great. In fact, that's what got paint on my hand. I tried to spray paint one in time for this, but it's not dry. So I'm going to stick to the cardboard. These cardboard boxes, you can use your paper plates, something that's thicker and harder that you can paint on. That's why I say cardboard's great. Paints are going to be easier, but you sure can use your crayons. You can sure use your washable markers if you want. Paints will be easier. The first thing you want to do is take apart your box, because we're going to need to get this opened up so that it's flat. Usually when you look inside your box, there's one place where there's a seam like this where they glued it together, and that's probably the easiest place to take it apart, because they've already put that seam there. So it's kind of like opening an envelope. You just run your finger along this. Whoops, try not to rip it. So that you have one big open cardboard. The bigger, the better. In fact, good gravy. I know I pulled some cardboard. Where did like I said, chicken with her head cut off. Chicken with her head cut off. Let me get my apron on, because I'm gonna be using the paints. I'm trying to accomplish so much, and that's the problem. I try to do too much at once. Anybody else have that happen? That's what's going on right here. But if you're willing to share this, get this out there so that other kiddos who are home have a little project to do today. Today is all about the hearts. It's all about the love. I don't know if you've seen this movement on social media. It's not a social media movement, but it's being shared on social media, where folks are some are taking artwork and putting it out. I talked about that last week. Now, this week, what seems to be the trend or the idea, the movement, is to create hearts, or if you have some sort of heart that can be hung in your window, to cover your window with hearts, because with the distancing, the idea is that give the message that you're not alone, that we're in this with you. It's a message of solidarity and community and coming togetherness, and I think that's really a beautiful thing. So I had mentioned to you guys, we live in a more rural area. Our lot isn't huge, but our house is way back off of the lot, and there's a lot of trees in front of the house. So I'm not sure that people would see ours, although we have walkers go by every day. So I'm going to try to hang a few in my office window, which is the most front-facing window on our home. So you guys do whatever you think is appropriate. I was trying to, hey Jennifer, hello. Hey Joanne from Tennessee, thanks for joining. Good morning, Cheryl. I was trying to think of other ideas of where you could hang your hearts. And I was thinking you could even put them in your car window. Like if you are going out just for a ride because you're bored and you need a change of scenery, or if you happen to run, you're gotta go get gas, or you have to hit the pharmacy, those essentials, why not have a few hearts hanging in your car window, on those windows that, obviously don't open or close, like the back windows, or you could put one like in the front window, like in the upper right corner or something, just to kind of be part of the movement. If you own a business and it's a downtown business, like especially where we live, if you're in your business anyway, like flying solo this week, so you're in there and you're doing inventory and maybe you're cleaning or you're doing anything, you could hang those hearts in your business windows, because if there are walkers by, people walking by, or driving by, they'll see them. It's part of, I think it's a beautiful movement. I do. I think it brings everybody together. Hey, Sonia. Hello from Florida. And Erica is here from Maine. Welcome, Erica. All right, so let's get to making some hearts. And I had a couple ideas. The first thing is I need to cover my table. I have my craft mat. It's taped together because I forgot that I didn't have my cutting mat down, and I used my X-Acto knife to cut something and it went right through my mat. So I have taped it together, but it still works. It's still fine. It like resists all, like nothing sticks to it. I can paint anything I want. I can glue on it and it cleans up really easily, and it protects my table from getting all messed up. Hello, May in Albuquerque. Hey, I want to mention one other thing if you guys don't mind quickly. Let me mention this because this is coming up. I'm hoping today I can get this figured out. I've been trying to gather information so that before I ask for help from you guys, I can answer your questions, and I'm getting really close to that. I made my first mask. I haven't had my sewing machine out in probably a couple of years, to be honest with you, but I love to sew and quilt and all those things. There's just so many hours in the day that you can get things done. But I busted out my sewing machine. I've watched several videos on how to create the masks. There are a few hospitals out east. I'm originally from Massachusetts, and there are a few hospitals out east that really need the help. They need masks. And one coworker, acquaintance of mine who, she lives in New York, works in Massachusetts, coordinating 15, like a conglomerate of 15 hospitals, clinics. She got permission from her administrator to ask for help from the public. So any of you sewers out there, it's a very particular type of mask. I haven't got the rubber bands on this one yet, but it has an opening in it because they're going to be inserting filters to protect the workers at these hospitals, clinics, like first responders, all those things. So if anybody is a sewer and you're willing to like sew 5 of these or 10 of these, I'm going to be seeking help from you guys. Any one of us can only do so much. It can be very overwhelming to think 15 hospitals need masks. I don't want you to think about that. I want to think if you are a sewer, you have extra fabrics on hand. You guys, I made a banner for one of my kids' birthdays years ago with Star Wars fabric. They don't care what the fabric looks like. So I'm going to be using Star Wars fabric that you have on hand. If you have a machine that works, mine is really not working right, but I can get it. I was able to get this done. Doesn't matter if your lines are straight. None of that matters. If you're a person who can help, they're asking for help. And I'm going to try to pair people up. The rubber bands can be hard to come by. Some of you may have a stash in your craft room, which is great. The rubber bands may be hard to come by, but we can match people up. So somebody may have rubber bands, the other person has the fabric. Maybe we can do it all together, make some of these masks. So each person, if you can make 5, think about it. If I can get 100 people to each make 5 of them and send them to that hospital, to my friend out in Massachusetts, New York, wouldn't that be fabulous? Because each person is having an impact, and collectively we're having a really big impact. So Pam says, I'm not a seamstress, but I bought fabric to donate to a group of local ladies, right? So that's exactly the point. Some people have offered to put money toward buying the materials. I ordered elastics. I have like a few elastics in my little stash, but they're not the right size, that would make it wearable for somebody. They're too thick. So I ordered some from Amazon, and they won't get here until May. It's a whole spool, but I think there's so many people looking for the materials that if we can match people up, people who have materials with people who can sew, I think we can do it. Thank you, Tina, for sprinkling. I so appreciate it. Hey, Vicki in Minnesota. Where did I get the mat? Pam, if you go into my Amazon store, it's in the section called Craft Supplies You'll Love, and there's actually 2 of them. I have an 8.5 by 11, and I have this really big one. And I can send you that link later if you just private message me, and I'll send you that link so you can get the exact one that I have. I love it. All right, so let's get started with our, May says she has material. So you guys watch for a post on the Comfy Nest page, and I'll be putting it in like the Pray with Grace group. I have a couple of different groups of people who may be willing to help. So I'm going to be posting a request for help in there, and then I'm going to have people comment underneath that so I know who to contact in what way they can help. So I'm going to try to do some coordination here. Tina, I have videos with the patterns. You're welcome, Pam. She says thank you for that. Vicki says, I'm binding a quilt right now this afternoon, going to start the masks for Alina Hospital here in Minnesota, right? So listen, I'm in North Dakota. I could go on. I have to get to the Kids Craft here in a second. But here in North Dakota, we're a few days behind normally in terms of trends or things in society hitting where we live, because we're in the middle of the country. And normally things start on the coasts and then move their way in. That's just my opinion, my experience. And people here we're not seeing it yet. We're not seeing it. We don't have that many cases that have been confirmed. We don't have that many tests that have been given, but it's coming. It's coming. I know it's coming. And so we just got to start helping. So if we can do it, we should do it. We should start making now while we can, and we have the ability to. Renee, you're going to have to private. I won't remember to come to this video specifically. I'm doing lives all over the place, but watch for either private message me or watch for my post in the Comfy Nest where you can comment, and I will provide all that information to you guys. All right, let's get to making some hearts. We're going to make some hearts. So here's my cardboard. So there's a couple of things you can do. I feel like the bigger the better, so that people can see it from the road. But I had really big cardboard. It must have been like 3 feet by 2 feet, and I spray painted it pink, but it's not ready. So we're just going to go with what we have right now, which is this Triscuit box. And I also have my cardboard cardstock paper plates. So I'm not even going to mind that there's a crease, right? So I can create a heart on this and it have a crease and still hang it in the window. Yes? Yeah, I think so. So I'm going to take my pencil. So what I want you to do, and you can have your heart shaped however you want it. You want it long and skinny? Do you want it short and stubby? Wider than rather than longer. You can do it whatever shape you want, and they do not need to be perfect. So get over your this intensity that we have about having perfect things. Art is never perfect. It's not meant to be perfect. It's meant to be art. So here's one thing you can do. You can create half of your heart, and usually I'm good with half. Then we get nervous about the other half and it not matching exactly. If you want it to match exactly, here's one thing you could do. You're going to do half of your heart. We can fold this at about the halfway point. I actually went beyond halfway. I need to move over a little bit more. I will run out of cardboard if it's that big. I can tell because my midpoint is about here. So if I line up my ruler at the midpoint, you can create a line for yourself, or you do it whatever makes sense to you. But if you fold this at that midway point, and you can use your ruler to help you get that fold nice and straight, especially with a cardboard, it's a little more difficult than paper. So I'm using the ruler, I'm pressing it down, and now I'm creating this fold. You can even fold it right over itself. You just need that fold line, right? So here's my fold line. So now I have a nice strong fold line. Fold it the other way so that you can see your pencil marks, and then you can take your scissor to this cardboard, and you're going to need a big strong scissor. So moms and dads or guardians, nanas and papas, aunts and uncles, whoever's watching those kiddos, you're going to have to help them with this part. But now we can cut it out and it will be symmetrical. If you're worried about them being exactly the same size and shape on both sides, you don't have to be worried, because it's art. It's going to cheer people up by being in your window. It doesn't matter that it's perfect. It's the gesture and the sentiment that's perfect. All right, so there we go. If you want it to be more perfect, there's one way you can fold your cardboard to get a more perfect heart. Now we're going to paint it, and we're going to have some fun. We're going to decorate it. So take out your paints. So what I did, let me put this away. Hold tight. I pulled out, of course, because I'm girly and I love pinks, I pulled out some pink paints. I love beachy colors, so I went with aqua. Just pull out a bunch of different paint colors that you think would be appropriate. I love this blue. It's like a really, it's called Cobalt Blue by Dixie Belle, and I love it. This would be a great color for a big heart. If you have your boys who don't want to use pink, reds, blues, greens, hearts don't always have to be pink. So let the boys participate too. The idea is to get these hearts in the window to like bring our communities together, okay? So I am gonna go with, just for the fun of it, I'm gonna go with the blue on mine. Why not? And then we're gonna create some other hearts too. We'll get to that in a minute. But I'm gonna create blue, and I think I'm gonna use green and maybe some white. Let me grab my white paint, because I might need a little bit of that. All right, so I'm gonna go in with a bigger brush, depending on how big your project is. If I had my 2x3 cardboard, I had these out and ready to go, the really big ones, but I'm gonna put those away because this is just a littler heart. But I would suggest, if you can, the fun part, the challenging part would be to make really big ones that all of your friends and family and your neighbors can see when they're out walking their dog or whatever. You can write notes on them if you want. You can leave them plain if you want. You can do whatever you want, because nobody's the boss of you when you're doing your crafting, right? Okay, I'm gonna just make sure I'm actually live. I forgot to do that. Well, I know I'm live because I'm talking to you, but I want to see the feed so that if anything goes wrong, I can see it while it's happening. Plus, I see your comments from here. Hey, Vivian, hello, hello. Trisha's here watching from Georgia, so you know I can see comments. Hey, Kim from Missouri. Hey, we're gonna work on some hearts for the windows. If you haven't seen this movement, I bet if you typed into Facebook, if you typed into Facebook heart movement, you'd probably find it. All right. My paint always gets thick, but I like thick paint because it gives good coverage. So just go ahead and get a base color. I don't know, frog in my throat. Let me get some water. Gosh, it's been a busy morning. Anybody else super busy? Just a lot of things to do with a time frame, which I haven't been used to all week. And then suddenly my boys this week, you know, the teachers worked so hard. Teachers and administrators are working their little tails off trying to get the last parts of the year figured out for our kids. And they've got a lot of their content. It's going to all be put online, and they're doing Zoom meetings and YouTube videos to connect with the kids. They've been working their tail off last week. So we sat at home waiting for them to prep and plan and communicate with us. And then today and tomorrow, they're asking all the kids to go in, one family at a time. They have it set up so fantastic. They really well thought out. One family at a time is going in from different doors, each grade at a different door, and picking up their materials so that they can start doing their work from home today. So that was a bit of a rush this morning. I was thinking I'd do it after the live, but my 8th grader really wanted to get started. So we ran in at 10 o'clock, and it just gave me a few minutes to get ready. Hey, Renee in Pittsburgh. If you guys don't mind, you know, if you got a Pittsburgh person, I don't normally have a Pittsburgh person, so I'm so excited to welcome you to the Comfy Nest, Renee. If you don't mind sharing, these are every day at 11. Throughout these next few weeks, I'm going to be doing lives for the kiddos, and I usually don't do children's projects, but I'm doing them so that those parents who are home with their kids and need some activities, like creative, healthy activities for their kids to do, keep them busy and occupied. That's the whole point here. Okay, so my paint's very wet. Your cardboard's gonna suck up paint. See how the paint has come up and off the table because it's wet, because it's absorbed that paint. It kind of curls. Sorry, you guys, I keep getting a call and I keep sending it to voicemail. Okay, so you see how it curls up? We're gonna let this dry, and then we're gonna go to the other side and paint that, because if you put this in your window, that's gonna show on your side, and that's not as pretty. So we'll pretty that up in a minute, at least basically. Oh, look at the pretty little heart I have on my mat now. Okay, now you can take your paper plates, whatever source you have. For we're gonna make some smaller hearts, so I can go back to my Triscuit box. Or you can use your paper plates. You can use, I don't know, whatever you have, your Amazon box. Obviously, the thicker the cardboard, the harder it's going to be to create, to cut it because it's thicker. Here we're going to make some smaller ones, but of different sizes. I like the ridges because they add some texture. So I'm just going to add, you guys, I'm terrible at making things perfectly symmetrical. So don't, and you know, it just takes a lot of practice and muscle memory doing this kind of stuff. This is why I'm not very good at hand lettering either. I'm going to make some smaller ones of various sizes. So you can use up all of your plate. Make some longer, make some like wider, however you want to make them. But we're going to cut all of these out and they're going to become part of our project. So you can have one kid drawing the hearts if they're better at it. You can have the other kid cutting them out. Whatever you think works for you and your family. I like to do this so that I'm dealing with less paper to hold or less cardboard, whatever it is that you're using. The paper plates are much thinner than the Triscuit box. Look at, I made that one a little bit too long, so I'm just going to ignore my pencil mark and go around it. Okay, so just make yourself a bunch of little hearts. Now, listen, you guys, if I had had my morning to myself, which I just explained to you that I didn't, if I had most of the morning to myself, I would have done some of this already so that the video would be shorter. So I apologize for that. I'll just try to do my best to go as quickly as I can. And I think I'm going to make, let's just do 3. My intention was to make like 7 of them, but let's just do 3 for the sake of demonstration.